After the ascent of Isa alayhi salam to the heavens, but before the era of the Prophet ﷺ, there were many people living in the Arabian Peninsula. From this group of the people, those who died before the Prophet ﷺ prophethood was announced, did not have a messenger who was sent to them. How can this situation be reconciled with the ayah of the Qur'an? وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا. Okay, so good question. The Qur'an says we've sent to every ummah, that's the key word here, to every ummah a messenger. Now what does every ummah mean? Does every ummah mean like every city? Does it mean every town? Does it mean every nation? Does it mean every community? Does it mean every race? Like what does that exactly mean? Yeah, so clearly it doesn't mean that a messenger was sent to every street. Yeah, so the sending to every ummah, right, means that it was sent to like the main, historically, if you had a timeline and you looked at the timeline, the main sort of nations a messenger was sent there. Now once a messenger is sent to a main nation and he passes away, his teachings spread and then they die out, and then another one is sent, his teachings spread, die out. So whoever gets caught between two prophets and doesn't get the full message reached to him, that person will not be held responsible on the Day of Judgment like any other person. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So yeah, so a simple answer to that is that these people are known as the Ahlul Fatra. Yeah, and Ahlul Fatra, they will be treated differently on the Day of Judgment. Certain people who lived in the Arabian Peninsula before the era of the Prophet ﷺ and who did not receive the message of the Prophet ﷺ are known as the Ahlul Fatra. Doesn't that fact that Ahlul Fatra existing disprove the verse of the Qur'an? Allah says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا. No, I think this is the same person asking all these questions. So look, again, this is a total misunderstanding of this verse. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ. It doesn't say وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ زَمَانٍ or فِي كُلِّ مَكَانٍ. It doesn't say that. فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ means like a whole society that was a key place. Allah sent a messenger. So if you were to have a timeline, let's say, and you had this earth, you had a 3D timeline. So for example, there'd be messengers sent to Middle East, messengers sent to Africa, messengers sent to over period of time. And when these messengers would die, the message would slowly die with them. And then another one was sent. So every time between two messengers being sent, there was a gap. This was called fatra. Right? So it was like key that every time a messenger existed, his message was limited to his locality and his time zone. So for example, an average messenger lives for 60, 70 years. So for 60, 70 years, those people who received the message were now not excused from rejecting it. But when the messenger disappeared and the messages began to disappear, these people were known as fatra, they're excused now. They're like the buffer zone people. Right? The buffer zone, kind of like grey area. Does that make sense? So this is what the verse means. I think you misunderstood what the verse means. But it's a easily, understandable mistake that people make.